Okay. What kind of patterns do you see? Yeah.
Hornets do look like these, and then always has two more.
Okay. So he noticed a pattern on the hornets, and that was like each one is +3. So what would this one be? 12. And he also noticed that from the hornets to the lynx, it's 2 more. So +2. What would this one be? 14. Okay. Also, if you look here, this is also +3. Okay. So, but the big thing is that the hornets have always won 2 games more than the lynx. They win at the same time, except the hornets have won 2 more. Okay. 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 Well, if we want to find out how the lynx, so the hornets won 3, we can find out how many the lynx won by adding 2 to it. If the hornets won 6, the lynx would still be +2, and the hornets won 9, the lynx would still be +2. And then you could figure out what, or how many they actually scored, or how many games they won. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead. It may be slow because I'm recording it. Once it loads, like the video will play fine. It just takes a lot of things to load up.
How can you write an algebraic expression? Let's look at an example. Gary has bought some comic books. How can you write an algebraic expression to represent the total cost of the comic book? What information is missing? The exact number of comic books Gary has bought. Use a variable to write an algebraic expression. A variable is a letter or symbol that represents an unknown quantity. Let n equal the number of comic books. Each comic book costs $4. How does the table model the problem?
Okay, so we'll start with that. How does the table model the problem? How does the table show how much money comic books cost? Josie? Yeah, and then how does that show that though? Like how do they show that, Jack? He or whoever, we multiplied the number of comic books times $4. So 1 comic book would be 4 times 1. 2 comic books would be 4 times 2. 3 comic books would be 4 times 3. 4 comic books would be 4 times 4, and so on. Okay, do we need to make a chart that lists every possible number of comic books you could buy? No, we can use n, and that's what they show down here at the bottom. N represents any number. The pattern's always the same. You take the number of comic books purchased times 4. So that's what they show down here in the bottom. The total cost is 4 times n for any number, and that's what n stands for, any number of comic books.
The table shows the operation and factor used to find the total cost for any number of comic books. What does 4 times n represent? The cost of n comic books. equation is a type of math expression that has at least one variable and at least one operation. The total cost of n comic books can be represented by the algebraic expression 4 times n. What numerical expression shows the cost of 3 comic books?
Okay, so they should have used the words algebraic expression, not algebraic equation. There's a difference. An expression is just like a problem. An equation is once you add that equal sign. And so what we have up here are all expressions because there's no equal sign. You can still calculate it and give an answer, but there's not that equal sign next to the problem. Okay, so they did ask what numerical expression shows the cost of 3 comic books. Marco, let's see. Where's my mouse? There we go. Correct.
4 times 3.
Okay, so here we've got some cool comic books about some twins, some of the superpowers, and Poppy the dog, or Poppy the pup. This is pup there. So if we buy this Twin Powers comic book, how much are we gonna spend? $4, right? If I buy the Superpowers book, I spend $8. And if I buy Poppy the pup, it will be $12. That's not hard to calculate.
How is an algebraic expression like a numerical expression? Both have quantities connected by math operations. How is it different?
Okay, how is 4 times n different from 4 times 3? Jack, how would you explain it?
N would be a number.
Yeah, it could be any number, but 3 is always 3. So 4 times 3 is always going to equal 12. 4 times n has a different answer depending what n is. Okay, but it's still the same thing. You're multiplying 4 times something. Okay, they call the top one algebraic because it involves a variable. The bottom one is just numerical because it just has numbers. Once you add a letter to a math problem, it becomes algebra. So you guys, even though you're not in algebra, you're doing algebra type problems already. Like that's pretty cool.
Algebraic expressions use variables to represent unknown quantities. Numerical expressions do not have variables. All the information is known. You can also use a solid dot, parentheses, or no symbol at all to write the expression 4 times n.
Oh wait, we'll look it.
4 times n, 4 times n, 4n, or 4n are all ways to write the same expression.
They will start going away from using the traditional multiplication symbol. Okay, the reason they're going to start going away from it is because what letter does a multiplication sign look like? An X. Okay, X is a letter which could be a variable. So they start using this dot, the parentheses, or just butting them up next to each other more. So you're gonna like not see the time sign very much. You'll start seeing it more like an X, like they'll use it as a variable. Okay, just so you know, like they're not gonna use the time sign very much anymore. Okay. Sorry, still gonna take a while. Okay, Darius's sister Rachel bought M mystery books for $6.50 each. Show 3 ways to write an algebraic expression that represents the total cost of the mystery books. Okay, you're gonna have an algebraic expression, so you'll have a number and a letter. And you can do it, you have to do it 3 ways. There's actually 4 ways you could write it. All the 3 of them. what is one way I could write how much the mystery books cost? Jack,
650 times 10.
using what symbol? The X symbol? Okay. That's one way. What's another way? Anna. I could use the dot instead. And that dot is like, it's not at the bottom, it's like floating in the middle. Not up top, not at the bottom, in the middle. Okay, what's another way? Mackie? Okay, and in parentheses. One more way. Marco? Yeah, put it in right next to it. And technically, when you're doing the multiplication, the zero goes away. But since we're showing money, I did keep the zero in all of those. Okay. How do you know that all four of those are algebraic expressions? What important thing do they have, Lucy? They all have a variable in them. Okay, if there are no variables, it's just a numerical expression. And you guys have been solving numerical expressions for years. No huge difference. It'll take a while. Sorry. Okay, how can an algebraic expression represent a given situation? An algebraic expression can use variables and operations to represent given situations. Okay, so what this is asking you to do is to take a statement and write the math problem it's talking about. Okay, so we've got 4 different problems. One's going to be an addition, one's going to be a subtraction, one's multiplication, one's division. Okay, and they have some words bold. So which ones they have bold for sure, but they have some words bolded in each of these. Okay, like more time or more than, decreased by, shared equally, times, plus. Okay, so let's think about these words. Well, let's read the whole thing and think about the words that are bolded. So A says 5 minutes more than time T. Okay, if I'm showing 5 minutes more, am I going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? What do you think? If I just want 5 more, Mackie? Correct. Okay, more than means to add. I'm adding 5 minutes of time on to T. B, 10 erasers decreased by a number N. Decreased by, what do you think decreased by would mean? Megan? Subtraction. We're going to take some away. N nectarines shared equally by 3. I'm sharing equally, Matthew. Division, yep, I'm dividing it into 3 groups. And then 4 times the quantity x plus 8. Okay, what does times mean first? That one's easy, Jack. Multiplication. And then plus 8. Another easy one, Megan. Addition. Okay. There's specific clue words that will help you when writing these statements as numbers instead of words. Okay, so here they took that sentence or that statement and wrote it as a math problem. So here we have A again was 5 minutes more than time T. So we want more time than T, so we were adding, and we're adding 5 minutes. So we have T, and then we add 5 more minutes. Bless you. B, bless you, says 10 erasers decreased by a number N. So we started with 10 erasers, and then we decreased or subtracted N erasers. C, we had N nectarines shared equally by 3. We said shared equally was divide. So we have N divided by 3. So we could write it like this, horizontally or vertically as a fraction. Remember that fraction bar means to divide. And then we have 4 times the quantity x plus 8. The word quantity usually means something's in parentheses. So quantity tells us x plus 8 is in parentheses. Inside the parentheses, and we took 4 times that. So we could have had 4 times 3, or that parentheses 4, 4 and 4 times. If really 4 and then x plus 8, that's a little different. We have to have parentheses here. Okay. These are just different clue words that might help you when writing an expression. And you can like keep this loose, or if you want to put it in your notebook, you can. This is up to you, however you do it. But on this sheet, you have words that help you find like when you would add. Okay, a lot of these you may not use this year, but it's still kind of good to have a list. Sum, gain, increase, more, altogether, plus, total, combined, perimeter. All adding. Subtracting, there's a lot of subtracting words. Difference, elapse, deduct, use, less, minus, past, remain, exceed, bigger, smaller, shorter, taller, longer, lost, least, has left, decrease. Multiplied, usually product, the word of means to multiply, distribute, twice, double. If you see things that are about next to each other, like that. Dividing words, quotient, division, average, factor, share, half, so on. You don't necessarily need the answer to equal or versus right now, but these will help you when writing expressions. Okay, so if you look at a book, I'm gonna like put it back on the future. If you look on your book, write an algebraic expression that represents the quotes. 8 minus the quantity b divided by 6. Okay, so go ahead and try writing an expression that represents that statement. 8 minus the quantity b divided by 6. And there's two ways you could write it and still have to write it. But I bet most of you will write it one specific way. Who wants to come up and write anything on the board? Now, come right with you go. That says 8 minus the quantity b divided by 6. What is my other way? How would my other way be different? Remember, you can practice. I probably write it out like this though, because you can read it from left to right. 8 minus the quantity b divided by 6. Yeah.
Do you know the parentheses?
Technically, in this case, no. That's a great question. You don't. But because they use for quantity, it's always nice to put it in. Just to be safe. But yeah, if you follow order of operations, you should disperse no matter what. So the parentheses are just kind of extra. But okay. Okay, we're not going to move on to the next example. I have another things out. Okay, and we're gonna start this and we won't finish it. Actually, I can do this homework for tonight. And then we can at the end of class. Okay, what you're gonna do is you are going to fold it in half. And you want the piece with the dotted line sticking out. Or on top. Your don't cut both pages. Only cut the top page. Only cut the top page. Because only the top has the fold. And you can cut to the fold. If you want to stop at the solid line, you can. Okay, so if you look, let me go back and write how the words are changing to an expression underneath. So if you look at the first one, a number plus 10, underneath it has n plus 10. That shows a number plus 10. Okay, you guys, for homework tonight, are going to have to do all of these, figure out what they are. Some of them are harder than others. So, I mean, this isn't for grade. This one's going to try your best. Well, let's do the first one together. Second number 2. The product of 5 and a number. I'm going to show the product of 5 and a number. Where go? Not necessarily. Josie?
5
times the variable. We don't know what that number is. So Marco did give us 5 times the number. But we don't want any other numbers in the problem. So you can have 5 times n, 5 m, 5 t, 5 times q, whatever you want. Oh, and I didn't do that. Sometimes they tell you, like in the fourth one, it says a number r subtracted by 10. Okay, that one they want you to use the letter r. But otherwise, you can pick the letter that you use. Okay, any questions? Okay, you still have, you only have 2 minutes at this point. You have 2 minutes, you can do as many of these as you want. But this is homework, and we'll go over it at the beginning of class tomorrow. Okay, who's doing errand stuff? Okay, you keep working, I'll give it straight to you. You can if you want, but you might have to erase and stuff, like, it's up to you. If you're not gonna lose it, put it in your notebook, you can. We'll glue it in tomorrow for sure. Yes. Okay. So, yes, Jen. Okay, that one's kind of tricky. Twice a number and 14 is going to be, sorry, I'm going to stop this real quick.